Welcome back as I attempt Chapter 8, The Void Inside for Aeon's End Legacy. So we start off with concluding with Chapter 7. You step forward into Maelstrom's spherical body, moving to close the final breach, ready to put all this behind you. Suddenly a voice shrieks as the air around you thickens with darkness. I warned you. I could have saved us all. Zaxos approaches your group, and as he gets closer, you notice his wild eyes, pale skin, and long, unkept hair. He looks little like the Zaxos you remember, but you recognize him immediately. Tendrils of darkness whip around his feet. This is what started it all, he snarls. I brought Maelstrom here to steal its power, and I will not let you stop me. I will die before I let you close this breach. So you try to talk sense into Zaxos, but you fail as Brahma failed. You can't leave well enough alone. Zaxos pulls his lips back into a scowl. I've had enough of your meddling. You scramble as Zaxos hurls bolts of shadow, dissolving everything they touch. I have seen the truth, he howls. The voice showed me things you can never comprehend. I have seen the well from which the Nameless draws power. I have drunk from it myself. Zaxos spreads his arms into the air as breaches open all around him, swirling in a circle. Minions begin to crawl out of the breaches, hungry for destruction. You have no choice but to fight. So remove the black plastic insert from the AEONS End Legacy box. So all this stuff coming up was hidden underneath the insert. Find the Stop 8 deck there and open it. Reveal the supply cards in the deck. Do not reveal anything past the Stop 8 card in the middle. So we need to do our supply upgrades. And then after that, we'll start into Chapter 8. So our new supply cards here, we have some Arcing Silicate. So cost of 4. We gain 2, gain a pulse token. You may lose any number of pulse tokens to deal damage equal to the number of pulse tokens lost this way. Adrenal batteries, a cost of 7. So you gain 2 pulse tokens. You may lose 4 pulse tokens. If you do, open any player's closed breach. Then gain a spell from any supply pile that costs 5 or less. And prep that spell to any player's open breach. Fiery Conclusion. Deal 4 damage. If there are 3 or more empty supply piles, deal 3 additional damage. Sphere of Inversion. Cost of 9. That's not going to happen much. Cast, deal 7 damage. Any ally may destroy a card in hand. If they do, they gain 2 life. I have a feeling by the time we can afford that, we're going to be dead anyway. And we will stop there. All right, I think I will bring in the Arcing Silicate there. Removing this one. And then we are going to remove our fire for a more fiery conclusion. And then it's time to open envelope Chapter 8. We'll reveal the rest of the 8 deck, combine the Zaxos Ascended Nemesis cards with the basic cards we used in the last game, and then start a fight. All right, Chapter 8 envelope. We've got our new card divider. The Void inside. Let's see, Concentrate deck, Spell deck. Looks like Breaches. And our Zaxos, 90 health. So when it unleashes, we'll draw a spell from the spell deck and put it into the leftmost breach with no spell prep to it. All of his breaches have a spell prep to them already. Cast the drawn spell instead. Additional rules. At the start of the Nemesis turn, Zaxos Ascended to cast all of his prep spells in order from left to right. Place cast spells face down on the bottom of the spell deck. During any player's main phase, that player may lose charges equal to the cost of one of his prep spells to place it face down on the bottom of the deck. When he concentrates, place the top card of the Concentrate deck face down on the bottom of the deck. And when he would concentrate and the Concentrate deck is empty, unleash instead. When a player is exhausted, Gravehold suffers 5 damage instead of unleashing twice. Resolve the rest of the exhaust effects. So for setup, place the breach mat next to this mat. Divide spell cards by cost. Shuffle each cost separately. Place the 5 cost cards face down next to the breach mat where it says Concentrate Deck. Place the 4 cost cards on top of those, 3 on top of the 4. This is a Concentrate Deck. Place the top 5 cards of the Concentrate Deck face down next to the mat where it says Spell Deck. These cards are the Spell Deck. So let's take a look in the middle of the stack and see what these spells are going to be about. So we have some level 3s, 4s, and 5s, and then our normal Nemesis stack. They're supposed to shuffle the 5s, and then the 4s, and 3s. And then place the top 5 over here as a spell deck, and these as the Concentrate Deck. Okay. Move some of this stuff over. And then taking another look. So we've got a spell side, concentrate side, 4 breaches. So for the third one, any player suffers 2 damage when a spell is cast from this breach. And on the fourth one, Gravehold suffers 2 damage when a spell is cast from this one. And now setting up the main Nemesis deck. 2s and 3s. And the basic cards. And we'll shuffle these up. All right, so there's our 3s, then our 2s, and level 1 cards. Then we will deal with our turn order deck here and get started. So there's our turn order deck. Give ourselves our 10 life. We have a spark and 4 corrupt crystals in our draw deck. And in our hand, deals damage, 1 good crystal and 3 bad ones. So I bumped the camera a little bit, rearrange, try to maximize my space up here for our new card stacks. I've already gone ahead and focused our level 3 breach twice, and this belongs looking that direction. So for turn 1 will be us. So we'll go ahead and prep a spell and use our 4 money to get a phased Portalite. And draw into our next hand and have the Nemesis take a turn. So we're starting with the Lattice of Pain, 6 health. When this minion is discarded, Zaxos Ascended concentrates. Persistent effect, Gravehold suffers 2 damage, or any player loses a charge. Next turn, Nemesis again. Well, we don't have a charge, so Gravehold takes 2. New card, Skybound Leviathan. We've seen this guy before. 9 health, persistent effect, Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Any player discards a card in hand. So we've got ourselves a minion problem. Next will be us. So we'll go ahead and do 2 damage with this and gain a charge. Prep a spell, and then with the 4 here, we'll go with a Prophetic Lens that allows us to gain a charge. Reveal the top card of your deck. You may destroy it. If you don't, gain a money. All right, drawing into a bunch of gems. For our next turn, deal 1 damage, down to 3. So what we're going to do with these 3 is go ahead and open our 3 breach, which has a +1 damage on cast. And with the remaining, now that our 3 breaches open, this will get us 3 money, so we have 4 money. So we'll spend those good 4 gems on a breach communion. And last turn should go to us also. So prepping deals damage. I'll go ahead and gain a charge and reveal the top card of our deck and destroy it, which leaves us with 3 money, which we will use for GFH. And for our next round, we'll shuffle our turn order deck. And first turn goes to the Nemesis. The Gravehold suffers 2 damage, or any player loses a charge. We'll go ahead and remove a charge. Then Gravehold takes 2 damage from that one, down to 26. And any player discards a card in hand. So we'll get rid of one of our crystals. And next, another minion. All right, so this one's 7 health, persistent effect. Zaxos will concentrate, reveal the top card of the spell deck. If it costs 3, destroy it. And next is us. We can now deal 2, 3, so we can get rid of 1 minion and gain a charge back. I'm going to prep a spell, and while prepped once per turn, you may gain a pulse token. And then prep a spark in play. Then we have 4 money, which is good money. We'll get a breach communion. Next turn is a Nemesis. Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Discard a card in hand. All right, Zaxos is going to concentrate, which will place the top card of this deck on the bottom of the spell deck. Then we reveal the top card of the spell deck. Spell costs 3. We'll destroy it, so this gets destroyed. Then we will unleash twice, which is going to bring out 2 spells. The first one, Incinerating Fist. Gravehold suffers 3 damage on cast. And next, we've got a Flare. Gravehold suffers 1 damage. Reveal the top card of the turn order deck. The player turn order card was revealed. That player suffers 2 damage. Then we destroy one of Zaxos' Ascended prep spells that costs 3. Personally, I don't want our players taking damage. We'll destroy that. Then Zaxos will concentrate. And end his turn. Next would be us. I think we're just going to keep that there. Spin the spark to deal 1 damage over here. Then we'll gain a charge and reveal and destroy. Then we're going to play this to gain a charge, and we may destroy a gem in hand. We'll get rid of one of these. Then we're going to discard a card using our ability. Once per turn during your main phase, you may discard a card in hand. If you do, silence a minion. They both kind of suck, but we'll silence this one. Then we have 1 money floating around, which we can't use, and discard down. So draw 1 and then 4. Next turn is us. Well, I'm going to go back a step. The reason why I didn't do this is because I wanted to get a token there. Now on our next turn, we can spin do 2 to deal 6 damage to something. So basically, deal 2 damage. You may lose 2 pulse tokens. If you do, deal 3 additional damage. So it's 6 damage. And since that's a big number, we'll go ahead and do that over here. 84 damage or health left on Zaxos. Then we will prep a spell, getting our token this time, and another one. We're going to discard a card to silence him. And then we have 4. So we will, I was thinking about focusing there. I'll go ahead and focus twice. So 1 and 2. And for our next round, we'll go ahead and deal 2 damage to a minion and gain a charge. Keep this out. Use it to gain a token. Prep a spark. Gain a charge and reveal the top card of our deck. We'll keep that. So this will get us 1 money. So we've got a total of 4. But 2 is corrupted. I think we'll use, let's see, during any player's main phase, may lose charges equal to the cost of a prep spell to place it face down on the bottom of the deck. We'll spend 3 charges to put this on the bottom of the deck. Then we've got all this prepped or in our bank. We'll go ahead and get a phased Portalite there. Drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And shuffle for the next round. All right, next turn will be us. Spend 2 tokens. Deal 6 damage, down to 78. Deal 1 damage. Take this guy down to 3. Prep. Gain a token. We'll go ahead and use this to destroy a gem in hand. Then we are going to bank 4 good money and 1 not so good. So since we have 5, we'll spend 3 to open this breach. And the remaining 2 on a charge. For next round, that's what we'll have. Going to the Nemesis turn. So unsilence these 2 and draw a new card. Getting another minion. All right, immediately Zaxos Ascended concentrates, and then we read Evolve deck E64. So concentrating. All right, so this creature is a conduit for Zaxos. You can see it fueling him, making each spell more powerful. Maybe there's power here that you can take for yourself. Place this next to Philetus of Lore. When he's discarded, read the back of this card. So he's got 15 health. And then next turn will be us. We'll choose not to cast any spells. Prep that one. Gain a charge. See what we have down here. Go ahead and destroy it. Then we have 4 good money and 1 not so good. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and discard that to silence a minion. And we'll go ahead and put that there. And then with our 4 good money, we're going to go for another breach. Next turn is the Nemesis. So Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Down to 22. Any player discards a card in hand. We'll get rid of that. Xaxos Ascended Concentrates. Then we reveal the top card of the spell deck. It costs 3 destroy it, so we will destroy that. Remove the silence token. Draw a new card, unleash twice. So the first one, getting a flare, Gravehold suffers a damage, reveal the top card of your turn order deck. If it's a player, we'll take 2 damage. And the second one, Incinerating Fist, Gravehold suffers 3 damage. And then we suffer 3 damage. So down to 7. Next turn will be us. We're going to spend 2 to deal 6 to the big guy here. Then we can deal 2 more damage and gain a charge. Prep a spell and a spark, gain a token. We'll spend 3 gems down here to put that on the bottom. Then with 4 good money, we're going to go for another breach. And last turn is us. We'll deal 1 damage, gain a token, prep a spell to gain another. We'll gain a charge, reveal the top card, and go ahead and destroy it. Then we have 4 good plus another. Well, we'll go ahead and discard this to silence that guy. Then with our 4 money, get our last breach communion. And see what the next round's going to bring us. All right, next turn will be us. Spinning 2 tokens to deal 6 damage to a minion. All right, so when he is discarded, read the back of this. So he's defeated. He falls to our assault, wasting no time. You rush to its side and absorb as much of its energies as possible. Xaxos takes notice and shrieks with rage. You narrowly avoid a blast of flame as you retreat to a more defensible position. Player who discarded Praetorus of Lore tucks this card under one of their open breaches. For the rest of the game, spells cast from this breach deal 1 additional damage. In the game, return this card to the evolved deck. Cool. So we will put that over here. And then go ahead and use it. So we're 2 plus 1 to take this guy out. Then we will prep 3 spells. Gain a token for that one and 1 for the other one. And with 4 money, let's see, actually we'll discard 3 of these to get rid of the spell. Then I think we're going to use this 4 to buy that and draw up. Next turn is us. We're going to spin 2 tokens so we can deal 6 damage. Putting that on the main guy, taking him down to 72. Then this will deal 3 damage. And 2 more. Plus get a charge. Then prep 2 spells. Gain a token. I'm going to discard a card to silence the Leviathan. And with 4 money, Gain another Portalite. Next turn is us. Spin 2 tokens. 6 damage. Down to 66. Our Spark deals 2 over here. Prep 2 Communions to get 2 tokens. Gain a charge. See what we've got there. Let me see. Yeah, we will keep that. Because now we're up to 7 money, which means we can get a Breach Collision. And that seems pretty good. So that card, when you gain this, you may place it on top of any player's discard pile. Doesn't matter when you're playing true solo. On cast, deal 5 damage, and Gravehold gains a life. And now we've got that. Next turn is the Nemesis. Unsilenced. Caustic Larva. So persistent effect is Unleash and Evolve. With 10 health. Next turn is us. We will spend 2 tokens for 6 damage. Down to 60. And then for 3 damage, we'll go ahead and get rid of this guy. Prep some spells, which will allow us to get 2 tokens. And we'll go ahead and play this for the money and allow us to destroy a gem. And with 1 money, we've got nothing to buy. The next round is the Nemesis. So we'll unleash. So Breach Communion, the player with the most pulse tokens loses 1 pulse token and then suffers 3 damage. Then it will evolve. So grab another sticker. Draw a card. So the Inner Eye. We need to spend 9 money, which will be a problem. Starts with 2 power. Place the bottom card of the Concentrate deck on top of the spell deck, then unleash twice. I'd kind of like to find 9 money. Then shuffle for our next round. It is us. Keep going with the 6 damage on the big guy, down to 54. 3 damage from that one. 2 damage from this one, down to 5, and we get a charge. Prep 2 spells, gain a token. We have 7 money, not enough for that, but perfect for this. Next round of cards will be us again. Go ahead and do that for 3. And this will do 2, so 5 damage on here. Then prep 2 spells, get her token. We can gain a charge and keep that. 7 money again. So another Breach Collision. So 4 spells. Now we start getting in trouble because we only have 3 breaches open. Nemesis turn. So we lose a power. Next card is Unleash twice. Oops. Forgot to do that. Player with the most pulse tokens loses a token and suffers 3 damage. So down to 4. Already took the token off that. Unleash twice. So Incinerating Fist. Gravehold suffers 3 damage. And Sparking Siphon. Any player loses a pulse token and suffers 2 damage. If we lost a token this way, Zaxos Ascendant gains 3 life. Then destroy each of Zaxos Ascended prep spells that cost 3. So that is that one. Then Concentrate for each spell destroyed this way, which was 1. So Concentrate, we'll put this on the bottom of the stack. In the turn and go with us. So 6 damage over here, take him down to 48. Gravehold will gain a life. And then 3 damage from here, down to 45. Prepping 3 geophages, gain a token for each of those. We'll play this to gain a money. We don't have any gems in hand. We've got a spell though. With 1 money we can't do anything, so that will go away. And we'll draw 4 cards. So next round we don't have a spell problem. And actually, before we end our turn there, I'll spin these 4 to get rid of that. And next turn is us. So spinning 2, doing 6 damage, down to 39. Then spin 2, doing 6 damage, down to 33. And then just 2 damage, down to 31. Then prep 2 spells, and we have 7 money. I think we'll go ahead and focus and spin the other to get a charge. Actually, we focused for 4, then for 3, we'll get this to get 2 tokens. When you gain this, gain 2 pulse tokens, and on cast, we deal 2 damage. You may lose a pulse token. If you do, any player gains a life. And draw up. And Nemesis. Didn't make that. So place the bottom card of the Concentrate deck on top of the spell deck. So bottom goes on top. Then we unleash twice. So that was players collectively suffer for 7 damage. That's not good. And Pyromancy. Players collectively discard 2 cards in hand, and Gravehold suffers 3 damage. Then our new card, a Trimmer. We need to spend 7. We got 2 power, unleash twice. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. Then if Gravehold has 13 or more, it will evolve. And we will shuffle and see if we die next round. All right, goes to the Nemesis. So we take 7 damage. We've only got 4. So when the player is exhausted, Gravehold suffers 5 damage instead of unleashing twice. So down to 18. We destroy one of our breaches. Well, we'll just go ahead and get rid of this. And discard any charge tokens, but we don't have any. So then just to recap, we can't gain life. Any more damage, we pretty much double that on the Gravehold, but we can still, from what I understand, use charges. So did 7, we had 4, so we've got 3 more damage to take of, which equals 6, so down to 12. Then we have to discard 2 cards, and Gravehold suffers 3. And that went on the bottom of the deck. So we will discard these 2 cards and take Gravehold down to 9. Then remove a charge or power, then unleash twice. So Gravehold suffers 3 damage on this one, and Gravehold suffers 1 damage, and we could possibly, well, Gravehold could possibly take 4 more. Then Dale discards our 3 most expensive cards in hand. We have 3 cards in hand. Next turn's going to go quickly. That is us. So 6 damage, down to 25. Gravehold will gain 1 up to 10. Then, because of our +1, we can deal 2 damage, down to 23, and gain a charge. No cards in hand, so we draw up. Next turn is us. So we will prep 3 spells, getting 2 tokens, gain a charge, see what's next. We'll keep that there. So we can play that. We've got a total of 2 money, which is great for getting a charge. And we'll spin those 3. This one will end up doing 7 damage. No 5, so we'll get rid of that one. Drawing 5. Next round, Nemesis. Unleash twice. Well, first, Gravehold suffers 3 damage. Down to 7. Then we unleash twice. So the player with the most pulse tokens loses 1 and then takes 3 damage. And then any player suffers 2 damage and a different player suffers 3. So yeah, these are terrible. Then Gravehold suffers 4 damage. So down to 3. Then if it has 13 life or more, it doesn't, so we evolve. Then we draw a card. So a minion with 4 shields and 7 health. So how close is this game to being over? All right, we got a couple more turns. For us, spending 2 tokens, 6 damage, down to 17. Spend 2 tokens, 6 damage, down to 11. 5 damage, down to 6. Gain a life up to 4. Getting 2 tokens. 6 money. Three charges. Drawing up. But it's our turn, and with 2 tokens, and that 6 damage. So that was pretty close. So Zaxos has been defeated. Hopefully I didn't miss anything else playing there. So the body of Zaxos lies smoldering. In the distance, you hear a cry. Mist enraged incinerates a boulder, devastated by the sight of her comrade. With Zaxos defeated, there are no more obstacles in your way. You join together to channel your magic into the breach. Light begins to shine again as the swirling black eddy begins to narrow. You're so focused on closing the breach that you don't notice Zaxo push himself to his feet, covered in burns and scars. He stumbles towards the breach, wheezing. As Zaxos reaches to draw from the breach, something reaches out. A long black tendril extends from the void, lifting Zaxos into the air. He tries to scream, but the tendril covers his mouth. As the breach closes, Zaxos is pulled in. The last you see of Zaxos is terror on his face. Sunlight shines where the abyss once hung and warms your face. You have many questions. Where did Maelstrom come from? What happened to Zaxos in the void? These may never be answered, but for now you sit, feel the breeze, and enjoy the warmth of the sun on your skin. The first time you felt safe in a long time. So, we have completed AEONS End Legacy. We can open the end of the campaign booklet found under the insert for the rules to how we use this outside of the campaign. So we have this one-sheet rule book that basically just goes over how you deal with your mages in the normal game, turn order deck. The player cards have numbers on the bottom of them, so they'll let you know if they're too weak in the normal game, too strong, or just right. Then, of course, we're going to get some randomizers here, supply setup, some basic Nemesis cards that we'll get that we can use in the normal game, and how to adjust difficulty. So, quite a lot of cards here. So, starting out with a bunch of crystals that haven't been vandalized yet. Then we get randomizers for all our new cards. So in case you've forgotten which ones we played with or just did not put in, quite a lot of cards to add to our base games. There's one we used a lot. Phased Portalite really came in good. And then we get to, looks like the Nemesis cards that aren't going to have the Evolve stickers on them. So these are some basic cards. So getting into Bladius, the Spawning Horror, Fungal Mesh, Haze Fiend, Death Mind, and Maelstrom Risen. And that will conclude our playthrough of AEONS End Legacy. Hope you enjoyed this series. So please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.